Hi, my name is Sean Knutsen with Boveda.
I'm Tim Swail with Boveda.
We're here at noblego.de, your great source for cigars and accessories. We've got a fantastic company. It's a remarkable product that we manufacture, patented. It's the world's only and first two-way humidity control. So Tim and I our background is we went to college together 14 years ago. As we've enjoyed cigars our adult life for years, we came across this technology through a mutual friend who worked for General Mills Corporation in the Twin Cities. And two of these guys developed this product. And Tim and I were able to meet this individual and start a company in 1997 based on this patented technology.
Yeah, so as Sean said, we've got one of the best kept secrets in the cigar industry, and the fact that we have a product that takes out all the guesswork in trying to maintain a humidor. And that's kind of what we'll focus on today, is talking about Boveda for desktop humidors. But we've got a great little story for our company, what we've been able to do in the last 14 years, and we're excited to give you guys that information, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy our product in your humidors and other travel cases that you have, and we'll go from there.
When we started our company, Tim and I went to college together. We had full-time careers in sales. And then when this presented itself, we recognized that, hey, this is something unique. Nobody else has it. So we formed the company. Our offices were in my kitchen at my house. We had no customers at the point. We had quit our jobs already, so we had to sell our product. We were forced to make money, obviously, right away. So the first trade show was in the United States for our product in Orlando back in 1997. Because we were so new, we had no booth. We couldn't get a booth. The entire trade show was sold out. We couldn't get access as an exhibitor, and we couldn't even get access as an attendee. So what we did was we handmade product in our house and then traveled to Florida to the trade show with no booth, with the requirement that we had where we've got to open up a lot of stores for this product that nobody knows about. So Tim and I had our backpacks on with samples in our backpack. We couldn't get in the show. We were intercepting any retailer that walked by, grabbing their card, taking orders literally in the hallway. And so the managers of the trade show didn't like the idea that here we're non-exhibitors and we're selling our product. That's not good. They didn't like it. So they would kick us out. So what we had to do was walk to another entrance until they noticed us there. So we were taking orders unauthorized just to get our product out there in the hands of retail stores. And so every night, Tim and I would get back to the RV because we couldn't get a hotel. We had to rent an RV. So here we are counting up our orders and so on, which was received very well, believe it or not, without any booth, just with sheer sweat selling this product. So we came back from that first trade show with enough orders to get the machines running so that we could be in business. So it was really kind of a remarkable feat that we did at that time. Really naive. We had no idea what was going to happen, but we jumped in it feet first.
We were a couple of guys that love cigars, came across this great technology, formed the corporation, and so we're transitioning from Humidipack to Boveda as the corporate name, the brand name, the whole identity of the company. So as you'll see probably this product out on the market, but the Boveda branding will be coming very soon.
Another neat thing about our product technology is, unlike a refillable element or refillable device that a consumer would use for their home humidor, because our product is two-way and because it's totally maintenance-free, manufacturers can use our product. So, for example, our first customer, one of the things that we did when we first started our company is contacted every single major cigar maker in the United States to include our technology in their box at the factory level, so that as those cigars would go through shipping and distribution, they would be protected. So that when it reached the retailer and the consumer at that moment of truth, when that consumer is going to light up that cigar brand, that they would have the best experience possible. So we would present this idea to every major manufacturer. The first manufacturer that really jumped all over it was Arturo Fuente. Carlos Fuente Jr., president of Arturo Fuente, listened to our story about our two-way technology that was unlike anything else. And he says, if you're a humidifier, I don't want anything to do with it. However, if you do what you say you do and you remove moisture just as much as you add, then your product will change the industry, and I want to work with you at putting your technology in all of our boxes. So we worked with Fuente and then came to an agreement. They did all kinds of testing. Everything was phenomenal, and they package all of their premium cigars with Boveda technology to protect those cigars through shipping and distribution. Since then, other manufacturers have come on. CAO, General Cigars, used our product for their Partagas 150 and 160 series. Davidoff has even used it in their Anniversario 100th anniversary cigar. Padron in their samplers. Rocky Patel, very important, big customer for us, who uses our product in their boxes, also in sampler packs that they're able to put through distribution worldwide, regardless if that retailer would have a humidor or not. They include it in places like duty free. So when the consumer knows, and he goes and buys a package of Rocky Patel cigars, for example, from a duty free shop, he knows that those cigars have been protected and are in perfect moisture equilibrium, even though they were sold outside of a traditional humidor.
One of the exciting things about our technology is that there's no activation required in order to make our technology work, our packets work. Like what you have in traditional one-way humidifiers is you have to wet them in order to get them to work. Ours is so simple. All you have to do is take it out of the clear overwrap, set the appropriate number of packets inside the humidor and shut the lid, and you have 2 to 3 months of maintenance-free storage of your cigars. So, and that's one of the reasons that the manufacturers like it as well, is there is no needed activation. They simply place it in their cigar boxes at the factory, seal up the boxes, and they ship it out through their distribution. And as Sean mentioned, the two-way humidity control maintains the humidity at whatever is specified on this packet, which takes us into another point about what our technology can do, is that we have the consumer, you as a consumer have choices on what relative humidity you would like to use in your humidor. So we have a 65%, a 69%, a 72%, and a 75%. And then we even have an 84%, which is used for seasoning brand new humidors so that you can get the moisture level up to the right level. So in the old days, where most people still currently do it, is they wet or wipe the humidor down in order to try and bring some moisture into the dry wood of the humidor. Well, we have packets that do that without you having to do a thing. You set the packets in, shut the lid. 14 days later, your humidor is ready to go for the ongoing packets. And again, going back to those relative humidities, you can choose 65, 69, 72, or 75, depending on what you like and prefer as your choice of humidity level.
For consumers, this is really a product breakthrough, and we can't overstate that. This product, from a consumer point of view, eliminates all of the hassles and headaches that go into trying to maintain a traditional or maintain a humidor with a traditional element. Specifically, there's no more guesswork anymore. So a lot of times when you have a refillable device, you don't know when to refill it or when to fill it up. Furthermore, so with Boveda, you put it in your humidor, and when it's done, it becomes hard. You don't have to guess when to refill it. You know exactly when to replace the packets. You throw out the old, and then you replace it with new ones. The other thing that it does is really significant. So the first point is really from a maintenance standpoint for the consumer. It's eliminated. The second part is really significant for cigars, because refillable devices will create what we call fluctuations or cycles in humidity. So when you refill a device up or an element, and even if you're using propylene glycol, it doesn't matter. That device, all it wants to do is give up moisture, whether or not your humidor needs it. So when you fill it up on the onset, the humidity will climb much higher than 70% as it's giving up that water. And as it starts to give all that up and it's evaporating and dissipates its moisture inside the refillable device, then the humidity drops. So what you're creating is a environment inside the humidor that has fluctuations. The cigars will swell and contract in that process, losing some of those natural oils and sugars in the cigar. So it's not creating an ideal aging environment for the cigars and the tobacco blend. So with Boveda and this two-way technology, those fluctuations are completely eliminated, because how the technology works is whatever number you select, for example, I'm holding in my hand a 69% relative humidity. The humidity will never go higher than 69% in the humidor, because as it gets to 69%, it stops giving off its moisture. If the humidity were too high, let's say you lived in a tropical climate, or the cigars that went in had too much moisture for one reason or another, the Boveda packet is going to remove just enough moisture, not too much, but just enough to maintain that environment at exactly 69%. So you eliminate maintenance, you're going to eliminate all the fluctuations. And the third element is really important as well, because over time when you use a refillable device, you're creating an environment for mold because the humidity is climbing higher than what you want it at. Plus you're refilling the device, so you get bacteria and mold that potentially can develop. Well, with this technology, underneath this layer of paper is the membrane. And the membrane is a reverse osmosis membrane. It's used in drinking water systems. So the only thing that's emitted outside of this packet is purified water vapor. There is not a product on the market that has a cleaner, pure humidity than this for the environment of the humidor. Consumer, real simple, they use one packet for every 25 cigars the humidor can hold. So let's say you had a 100 count humidor. Regardless of how many cigars that you have inside, what you want to do is calculate the area inside. So if it's a 100 count capacity, you'd use 4 packets, which is 1 for every 25 cigars. You close the lid, forget about it, you're done. No need to worry about it. 2 or 3 months later, depending on the humidor. Certainly some humidors out there in some environments can get 6 to 9 months, we experience as well. That's not even possible with a refillable device, because even if it's a humid area, a refillable device is going to keep giving off that moisture rapidly. Where this is a smart technology, it's only giving it up as needed. So you get a longer life out of the packets and you get a perfect level of humidity. Just use the correct number and forget about it.
As Sean said, it is very important to use the correct number. So it's all based on capacity. We have consumers that call and say, oh, I only put 2 packets inside my humidor. Well, come to find out they technically needed 3 or they needed 4. So again, it's 1 packet for every 25 cigars that the humidor will hold. So it's based on capacity. And here's the beauty of our technology too. Since it is 2-way humidity control, Sean mentioned this already, is that it's impossible to over-humidify. So you could, if you wanted in your 50 count humidor, it only requires 2 packets, but you could put 3, 4 in there. All you get out of that, and the benefit that you get out of that, is that you have more packets, so it will respond to the changes faster. And then secondly, they'll last longer. So there's never ever a scare or a need to worry about over-humidifying as you would with, again, a 1-way humidifier. And again, that takes us back to why Fuente and the other top manufacturers use our technology inside their factory boxes. They are 100% confident that when they put a 69% packet or a 65% packet inside that box, that's the number, that's the relative humidity that the packet will maintain inside that box. So, and again, as Carlos Fuente said, he's sometimes more concerned about too much moisture inside cigar boxes than not enough. And the reason for that is that on days down in the Dominican Republic, when it's a rainy day, it's a rainy season, the humidity, the ambient humidity might be 90% or 85%. And as he's packaging up those cigars, there's a high humidity within the air. They set it down, they close up the package. Now it's been exposed to high humidity, and then our packets will help bring that down to the 69% that they're intending to have as a cigar manufacturer.
In addition, consumers obviously use this in their wood desktop humidors, but you're not limited to that. Consumers can use this in a Ziploc bag. They can use these in rigid containers, the armored style humidors. They can use them in a travel humidor, such as this humidor right here. Just put a Boveda packet on the inside, and there you're good to go for travel. Tupperware, cooler doors, if you've heard of cooler doors. You're not limited to what you can use the product in. Even if it's a perfect barrier, the humidity is going to stay at that perfect level, and it's just going to last longer if it's in a plastic sealed container. Give you an example how long it would last in a sealed container. If you had a high barrier moisture bag, let's say a freezer bag as an example, 1 packet in here in the freezer bag will probably go about a year for you because it's only giving it up as needed.
The other thing, we have 2 different size packets. We have the large 60-gram packet, and we have a smaller 8-gram packet. These are intended to be used inside Ziploc baggies, inside smaller portable type humidors or pocket. I'm trying to think of the word, but in smaller humidors that are travel type humidors, or as I said before, inside Ziploc baggies. So you place this in, put it in your baggie. You're going to get a good 30 days of humidity control inside a standard Ziploc baggie.
The Boveda product is available in single packet sales. You can buy in individual packets as many as you want. Or, and by the way, they're overwrap. So however many you buy, they're going to last over a year inside of the overwrap. In addition to that, you have the option of buying in bulk. And here's our bulk package. 20 Boveda packets per bulk 20 pack. Inside of this barrier bag, they're going to last over 2 years for you. So no worry about using them up right away. Simply take one out or take 4 out, however many you need, and reseal the top of the bag with the reseal tape. These are available at noblego.de. Please give it a try and order it. You're going to love it, and you're never going to go back.